Hello and welcome to the Gambling Files podcast. This is one of our Christmas Day episodes. There are two going out today. It's just me though. I really haven't got anything pithy or witty or anything to say. It's pretty cold. That's why I'm wearing this. I'm in Wales in winter. I don't know if Santa's been yet because it's not Christmas Day yet. It just, this episode goes out on Christmas Day. It is worth saying, though, that we are sponsored by Clarion Gaming, organisers of ICE, Barcelona, which is coming really, really quickly. Fintan's diary is full. Mine is not even close. So if you'd like to meet in Barcelona, I've got a shit ton of free time. So yes, the mighty Clarion Gaming. And we're also sponsored by, and the sponsorship does make a huge difference because it allows us to remain as independent as we possibly can and to put the time into it that I know it doesn't look like we spend time on it, but we definitely do. Yes, the other thing was that other thing. Sorry. Also sponsored by Optimove, the CRM specialists who are going to become much, much more important with all the tax changes that are happening all over the world, because retaining customers is going to be what it should have been all along, which is the magic bullet. They are used by more than 50% of the EGR Power 50. We've had the demo. Honestly, we genuinely do say, get the demo. You'll be really impressed. If you use the link in the show notes, you will be allowed to have a month for free out of your first year. That's worth it, I think. So have a look. Get in touch with them. Go see them at ICE. Get the demo there. It's fucking awesome. Also, we are sponsored by the beautiful Every Matrix. Now, I've got a special read for Every Matrix. I'm working on multiple screens, so I'm all over the place. So Every Matrix is delivering advanced turnkey platform technology to the global regulated iGaming and lottery industries with outstanding results. It's powering the world's biggest brands, solving your biggest challenges, and taking your business to the next level. Because with Every Matrix, everything is possible. So those are our sponsors, and yeah, we really are very grateful to them and for sticking with us this year, because there is a break clause in the contract and they didn't exercise them. So yeah, really grateful for that. This episode is, that's a great question. Who is this episode with? It's with, no, I've got it in here somewhere. I've gone low tech. I've gone, with some low tech stuff. I wrote it on a piece of paper and now I can't find my notes, which is not even slightly embarrassing, is it? Fuck, where is it? Seriously, it is in here. I know it is. No. Oh, here they are. Oh, of course, it's them. Xgenia. They've reached another level in what they're doing. So Fintan and I were joined by Mark Flores Martin, CEO and co-founder, and Adam Davis, Chief Revenue Officer. Adam is suspiciously quiet in this episode. See if you think it's suspicious. I don't know. But, lovely people doing interesting things, and that's one of the things that we are all about. So let's see what Mark and Adam have to say, and Fintan, because he often speaks as well. And I hope if you are celebrating Christmas, you're having a lovely one. And if you're not celebrating Christmas, I hope you're at least getting a day off. And see you soon. We're joined by this episode's guests. I say guests because there's more than one, and that's how plurals work. We're joined by returning guests, actually, so that's always nice. Fintan and I, we're a big fan of people that are dumb enough to come back. And with that in mind, and sponsorships are available, we're joined by Mark Flores Martin, the CEO and co-founder of Xgenia, and Adam Davis, Chief Revenue Officer of the same company. It'd be quite funny if you were from different companies, but you just liked each other.
It'd be funny if we liked each other.
Yeah, we're from the same company and don't like each other much, but that's why we came here, for the banter. We're here to air out our differences right here live on the Gambling Files.
I was just thinking that I'd thought of a new podcast concept there, and in fact, I've just fucked up this one instead. But welcome back. You've been very busy, but just in case, just so people don't have to go through the previous 240 odd episodes to find the other one. It's not episode 1, by the way. It's in there somewhere. What does your business do?
So, thanks, first of all, John, for having us. Pleasure to be here again. I'm very excited. So we've been a little bit of a... I do, but I am. I mean, it's like almost 2 p.m., so it's way past my bedtime. But yeah, we've been on a bit of a journey over at Xgenia. We've been, researching a lot on where to go as an AI company, and we started out as the guys creating the slots with AI and creating all the initial prototypes and artwork. And we've moved on to now be a full-blown game slash workflow slash apps engine, right? So we have a agnostic tool that allows you to build anything you might require in the gambling industry with AI. So we're an AI first company, and for the most part nowadays we help either game studios or larger companies develop their own AI solutions, whether it is creating tools for the games they produce, such as creating our beloved slot generator themselves, or a rendition of it, or creating chat systems, or player compliance and retention tools, all built upon their own AI infrastructure, as AI was meant to be and built. So our new tool is sort of like a node editor. You can just sort of build up, drag, drop a bunch of components, AIs together to develop the solution you're looking for. And our game engine is now becoming quite popular. We've grown quite a bit, thankfully, and looking forward to kicking off this new year coming up. We're soon hitting Christmas time. I'm a bit of a Christmas fanatic, so yeah.
There's a lot of AI related buzzwords in there. Did you do that for SEO purposes?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why people... It's like telling someone who speaks about the internet, oh, you're using a lot of buzzwords because you said internet. I mean, it's just so part of everyone's daily lives, and it's such a critical part of it. It's like we're people not having this infrastructure, let's call it AI for added SEO value, is basically like not having a website nowadays, like it was akin 10 years ago. Like, I mean, it's such a requirement and necessity for companies to start, just implement. It's so daftly easy to implement nowadays that you can put together a chatbot in, under a few minutes, even if you have any set of slight skills, because it's become so easy. So I think that it is just something that companies should be pushing forward towards. I don't consider it a buzzword at all, and I don't consider it overhyped. I mean, forget the stock market, that's overhyped the shit out of it. But besides that, I would consider it to be a necessity in today's day and age. Look at you guys, you're on Riverside, an AI platform. Auto cleaning, uploads, everything happens quite sexily on it.
Fintan was excited. That's why we came on it. He's like, look at all the buzzwords. We got to get on there.
So the last time we spoke, you guys were like really focused on using AI to make slot games. We're still waiting on the Gambling File slot game, by the way.
Oh yeah,
That
never
was
did it
promised.
never arrive. Let's blame Adam
That's
for
right.
that.
That's right.
Few
Yeah, because
months.
apparently it's really quick to do and everything.
Easy, apparently.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. No, the idea we came up with, I'm sure, I think there was like massive copyright issues, if I remember correctly. I think it was like, we can't do that. But jokes aside, so okay, so in terms of the platform today, you've talked about the games engine and stuff. So I could, if I was a customer, I could log in, make a game. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, you could download the platform now. It's a desktop tool, right? So it
Okay.
runs completely on the people's PCs, right?
Mhm.
It's quite a big tool. So you can either jump on to the AIs and ask them to help you build something, or you could, drag and drop nodes. We support, all the different React, Pixie, all the other buzzwords that we put up on our stand to make people all excited about. But yeah, you can create a crash game, a slot machine, Plinko, scratch and win, whatever you want. You can make an RPG where you hit some clown on the head, and as he laughs, some evil laugh, and he gives you coins, vomits coins on you. So
Mhm.
that's sort of thing. You can also build that. So it depends what you want to do. It's a full-featured development platform. Originally, we took a bunch of open source tools to build it. We looked at even Nathan infrastructure, but that wasn't really open source, to see if we could use that. So we put a bunch of things together, including Pixie. We used Noodle. We used infrastructure from GitHub and Superbase. So putting it all together to create this very powerful platform that today people are using for whatever purposes they want, right? But the most important thing is that you create systems around the apps you're creating to help you, do better whilst building those. So it comes like a full circle loop system. You build what you're building, say a game, then you build game tools, AI tools with it to empower that game to create that game even better the next time around. You keep going on like that. So we're entering this I think this world where everything needs to feed into everything. So what you create should be easier to create the next time with the tools you also build. We're always releasing new tools and templates for people, but yeah, I mean, this is where I think the for SEO purposes AI is going. Helping you build the tools you need to get to your next destination faster.
Understood. So from if we're looking at this from a like a game manufacturing perspective or game publishing perspective, am I like how evolved is the tool? Because obviously, like you can go onto a platform and vibe code some simple web app or something right now, but if you hand it to a serious developer, they'll find lots of security issues or bits like this. From obviously with something like a game that's transacting real money, like is this hey, here's how you get a proof of concept live, or
So
is it no, this is a fully featured, regulated, approved, whatever that the term for that is, and you can push it for real money and crack on?
yeah,
Like where on the spectrum do you guys sit?
so we sit from 0 to 100 now. So you can build and we call it 0 to 100. So from nothing to polish, but also in terms of AI usage, it can be 0 to 100. So you can be as AI driven as you want to be or not.
Mm-hmm.
So the platform also operates without AIs in itself. So the one beautiful thing I think we have done that no one has done in the AI world is we looked at the perspective of, yes, if you vibe code, it builds code that you have no idea what the fuck it's building, right? Could be building it could be building some really random code, touching a bunch of files, and you're just seeing something happening. But unless you're an expert developer reviewing every single thing it has done, you're gonna need to hire what we like to call a vibe coding specialist checker, right? Which basically checks the vibe coding work of the vibe coders that they have done, because don't know how to code really, right? They're more like prompters. But with us, what it builds is a workflow or a set of nodes that connect together. that build out the functionality of the game. Now, if you're building with us, we support building the backend system and the front end system in one. So you're automatically connected, like you're building the mathematics, and at the same time you're building the front end, and you're changing both live on the same thing. When you're ready to go, you can just deploy. But the beauty is when our AIs build, they don't just build code. They can build code if they're stuck and they feel like Xgenia is missing a feature. They will build the code for that feature or for that node to sort of then connect it. But for the most part, it builds nodes, and you can follow what it has built very easy just by visually looking at what it has built and say, okay, this is how it tackled that particular issue. That's interesting. Okay, let's do this then. And you keep talking to the AI until you've come up with something that you feel is good. Now, when it comes to direct polish, like, I need to move this image 1 pixel to the left, sometimes AIs might mess that up. So it's easier to just, say 1 pixel left. This type of polishing is more made for humans today, right? I mean, as you guys could have seen from last time we talked, there was very crappy video generation systems, right? And nowadays we're sitting on VO3, we're sitting on all these massive tools, the leap is insane, right? I think we can all agree that soon we'll have, we joked about having AI John, but we can do it today, right? We can create an entire podcast that sounds, arguably better than the way John speaks on this podcast, using
Don't need to
AI.
sell it to me. I'm in.
Gambling industry's first AI podcast.
But interestingly, Fintan, I'm what I would do is I would use it to replace you, and I would just have two me's.
I'm totally on board for that. I think that'd be hilarious.
I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
Jokes will be flowing in well. I mean, have you seen the AI jokes?
We just put like a curly hair wig on the other John.
Yeah, we can.
That could work.
John in disguise, right?
Exactly. The people won't recognize him.
Yeah. Okay, so polishing the front end, I get. What about polishing the back end, like the game maths, the bonus maths, this game isn't exploitable type maths?
Yeah, it's a lot of the headlines that you see out of AI generated code is it's generating tons of redundant code in amongst the useful shit, isn't it?
You never see a big tool for polishing the back end.
I mean, you're
bad headline.
So when you're building the backend system, this is where it really gets interesting. The way we have implemented it, right? We're always thinking of new ways to implement stuff, and the way we've done it is we've looked at the latest tools that people are using, and one of our favorite ones has been Supabase for a long time. Since its inception, we've sort of really loved it, and they have something called Cloud Functions, right? So we support Supabase, we support a couple of others, and you can export to TypeScript anyway. But when you're building the backend system with us, it works again in a node infrastructure, right? So you drag, drop blocks. Then what happens when the player wins? And if there are these three icons and do this, and you keep going on to build out your mathematics, which you then run through a simulation and test it to see, what it is. So you build out your mechanics in the same way as you would build out the UI infrastructure, and then you would obviously need to do various testing against that simulation, and you can will also soon be as we figure out how to release this AI we have, because someone on this call feels that it is too dangerous to release to the market, and I feel that let's do it and give power to the people, but yeah, it's like a security tool, a security AI which acts as an evil agent, right? It's inherently very, very evil. Sorry, dark, as I've been asked by the marketing team to say. Dark AI to sort of hack your backend system and your APIs, especially on the aggregation side, to make sure that the security side, to make sure between either the mathematics is safe from bonus hunters, things like that, versus those API infrastructure is safe. Now, the interesting thing is when you rely on infrastructure of that others are taking care of, that they're obsessed with security, you get an extra, let's say, layer of protection, especially if you're a small studio or something like that, right? So that is where it kicks in. You upload, you send it to the back, test all the API things you need, and you get secure. At the end of the day, humans make errors, AIs can make errors. It's not going to be perfect, but with the dawn of agentic AIs, each checking each other, the chances are slimmer and slimmer. I think we've pretty much already passed the point of human error, which basically is the most important benchmark for humanity, I guess, against the machine.
Understood. Okay, so really, it's there's tools there to help test, but it is on the user to make sure it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're adding more and more tools, but yeah, you have to go through the motion still, right? I mean, this is something that will always need to be done. Sanity check, sanity check, sanity check. And I guess at some point we will say, yeah, I don't care anymore. AIs are doing a better job than me anyway. Let's go out. But there's no way we at this point in time are going to say, yeah, guys, trust the AIs blindly and go out. It's just too much of a risk
There's a
for
lot
us.
of
So
revenue. There's
we'd
a lot of
rather
revenue at
people
risk in that, for
go
sure.
test, make sure you test it. You ain't gonna blame us,
Mm.
So until we give out, yes, we're convinced now with these agentics that it's passed numerous testing in the field and everywhere else. It's impossible to put out such a statement, right?
Okay, and what about like testing labs and stuff like that? How are they? What's their response to kind of games built with AI?
Well, they don't
Great
really
question.
see sorry.
That was a great question.
Fair enough. So they don't see they're let's say oldish companies for the most part. They don't
Oh, for
see
sure.
the what has been built by AI. I mean, it's building code, infrastructure like they know and love for the past 4,000 years. So as they've been seeing it since then. So for them, it's just more code, right? More code, more testing. We have the compliance tools, with seed and all the stuff that you need to. I'm not really the maths guy in the company, but to comply with it. So yeah, they just take it. They have all those tools if they want to use them, or they can use their own depending on who they are, if they're Cherry, GLI, whatever. And they just take it for compliance, and they test it out. At the end of the day, as long as it gives the results that they require and they're able to peek into the code, they doesn't matter for them how it was built, right? I'm sure now more and more games are going out built with AI, whether it is built in Cursor or anything else. God knows how many are going out, and God knows how much problems we are going to see in the near future from increasingly lazy vibe coders who go, you know what, it's a Friday, push the build, sure, it's fine, you know. And this is what really scares me, and this is what we are trying to avoid by creating this node based interface, right? That it's code, but it's predefined modules that the AI is using unless it needs to build its own code. So it's a much safer approach to coding than you would if you were just vibe coding, right? And God knows what is changing across the game, you know.
Understood. Understood. Okay, that makes sense. So then you talked about agentic AI, and at the beginning you were talking about like, so obviously there's the slots part of the business, and then there's the tools part of the business as well, if I understood correct. What are you guys doing in that space?
So we've been toying with a new theory. Might not be a popular theory, and it's been a massive debate in our team for sure. Is I'm sure you might have heard of MCP servers and these type of things. So we're seeing MCP servers as I'm going to make a bit of a bold prediction here, an early prediction, let's say, that MCP servers will be the baseline for building applications, right? Because they're connecting on AIs, they're easy to integrate, they're on a single protocol, So this makes things and life a lot easier on the building. So we've gone through the trouble of figuring out how to decouple the protocol to make it into its ability to make it into its own node system that we integrated into our system, which works. And now we're taking it one step further for authentication. But basically, it's like if you wanted to build, let's say you wanted to build a AI that, let's say you're a lawyer, right? Just as an example, right? This is a very, important sector. So you're a lawyer and you want to build an AI which sort of checks work and does things, properly. Normally in the past, before, let's call them agentic AIs, if you want, we would, have an input, the AI processes it, does some thinking if it has thinking abilities, and then outputs the results, right? Now, with us, we're seeing it more of I check, you check, we check sort of scenario where multiple AIs, so they might be different models as well, trained on different sets of data. So you could, for example, chain in Claude to GPT-5 to DeepSeek, for example, if you need some Chinese governance, data inside of it, and then those could start checking the work until they, for example, come to a consensus of, yes, this is perfectly checked document and we are happy to rubber stamp it all together. We've run out of disagreements, let's say. And obviously add on tools such as a research AI, which goes out digging on the internet, which acts like as the assistant. So I see it this way, like using these AIs to create teams and not just rely on the answer or output of one, because each of them are trained on most of them are trained on Reddit, and they're trained on various data sources, right? The standard ones. So they're going to have a lot of the same answers. But yeah, getting that research in, from the research AI that only answers what it sees on, let's say, you force it to only see government websites with government laws, attach that, and you can start building a really strong infrastructure and then build out from there, right? So this is where I sort of see the future of agentics, let's say, going on, in my feeble opinion.
Okay. And is this something you guys have now, or is this something that's coming? So maybe I misunderstood.
We have it. We do have it now. It is not really in release stage, but it's technically coming. We're still fixing some things, but once that is finished, you'll be able to basically use any tools, any AIs inside of it. You can already do so now, right? But just not as easy as one click, select and drag and drop. With over 1,900 integrations pre-made through the MCPs, and driving that through, right, and to build it out. So this will be a bit of a faster way to build agentics in itself, right?
Because I'm assuming, like, if you take a typical gambling operator, there must be a ton of stuff happening backstage, like, I don't know, KYC document checking. You've got to copy stuff from a PDF or a photograph or a JPEG into a database, or you've got to read some numbers or do this, do that, do whatever. So there must be, and that's ignoring, say, customer support or anything like that. So there must be a ton of these automatable, repetitive tasks that feel perfect for agents.
Yeah.
To be able to just kind of do even just 90% of the heavy lifting for then a human review or a human final pass or whatever.
So
it feels like a huge opportunity for companies right now, because apart from the cost savings, it's just speed as well.
Yeah, I think that this is so I always say that every company should empower its employee to do some small automation, at least 20 minutes of their day, because in the long run that adds up, right? Bringing in all those automations. But we are heading towards, so you spoke about there's lots of things that can be done. One of the most important things that AI is going to be doing is actually looking for these opportunities, these integrations, workflows, if you want to call them that, things that can be done inside of the company where there's issues, and just build out its own workflow around it automatically. Because who else is good at building AIs than AIs themselves? We're coming to that point where we're just going to start seeing, and this is what we want from our tool, that it's sort of, you build up the initial infrastructure, which is whatever you need. Then you start building the workflows around it. Some simple workflows to get your feet wet. Then you add some agentics to it. You start bringing those workflows into an entire system. And with that, the AI can utilize those as tools to further understand the company and then start building out better of its own workflows, agentic workflows, right? That sort of automate more. So, you build the initial legal AI workflow, and then it says, you know what? If we added this in, this would be a lot better because that user said this is wrong, that one. So let's reimagine this around. And this is why it's our tool, the way we're building it, it's in this way, because we envision a future where humans are not going to be that great at coding. It's going to become like more of a very specialist breed, like carpentry, or mechanics or anything like that. For the most part, has been automated. I mean, there are taxi drivers, but much less horse carriage drivers and wheel makers, so to speak. So as these things, this sort of world starts to turn, we'll see the adoption of coding to be less because AIs are doing it so well, and we'll see more of an adoption of visuals and easier tools that humans can interact with AIs. So this is where we're sort of predicting the future to go, and this is why we're putting all our eggs behind more of a tool that simplifies AIs for humans, at the same time gives AIs full power to build things, right? I think that's where we're going.
And okay, so like when you say that's where you're, because this kind of feels like, having done a lot of stuff with AI tools and agents and bits like that, like it feels like, yes, absolutely, in the future, that's how it'll work. But today, it's not quite there in a lot of those kind of, particularly in a regulated company or a transactional business or whatever. So, like in terms of the practicalities for today, like if somebody called you guys today and said, hey, come in and help me solve this problem, like what kind of problems would you be going in to solve?
So, okay, I guess let's reverse that question to you. 6 months ago, right, before the AIs we have today, would you have put your money that there would be tools like VO3 around? Would you have put your money that we would be benchmarking, higher than human, almost higher than human intelligence on that scale, for the most part, already doing it? It would be hard to believe that such AIs would exist, right? Such as an AI that can create almost perfect video with audio and speaking, and that people are unable to define already what is real and not. Having said that, yes, companies are going to be resistant to having an AI come in and make a bunch of workflow changes, and that's understandable because we grew up in a situation of being, safe and double checking everything. But there's going to be a lot of startups that are just going to say, yeah, just do it for me. Let's get going, right? A lot of young guys are going into that mode where they just trust the technology they're on, right? We're a bit older. We don't trust it that well. We're always suspicious of everything. So is it here today? Yeah, if you wanted it to be, for sure. Can we build an AI that can build other workflows automatically? 100%. If people really thought that there was any business value today for it and people would be willing to take it up, the answer is, if it's viable in a year, yes. I think that if you saw that, and all it takes is one company, right, to take it up and make a huge success with it, everyone else will follow. It's that simple.
Which is, that is the classic gambling industry, model, right? You do need that one brave company that goes first. Like the industry is very good at copying, not very good at originality.
Yeah,
and I completely buy into the two guys in their bedroom with nothing to lose. It is a classic innovator's dilemma scenario where it's a bit rough around the edges. Some of these tools mightn't get past like middle management in a big corporate, who are trying to protect, not get sacked. But younger guys who've got nothing to lose for sure. Like, and they'll probably build massive businesses off the tech because it feels entirely possible. And I think I think that you know, and I agree. Like VO3, Sorora 2, whatever it's called, like huge leaps. But when you, for the average person to sit down and prompt one of those to get the really high end output, you know, it's still a very specialist skill, and there's filled, like it's not as simple as it could be today. Like, it's incredibly powerful, but it's still not quite there yet in terms of this is super simple to use for the average person working in a gambling company, as the example. And there's so much changing, and there's so many, like, this tool for this, and you got to prompt this tool this way, and you got to do this with this, and this one responds better. If you know, there's a lot of, like, it feels a bit like a wizard with their spells, right? You're swapping spells with people, you're doing this, and you got to do that, which is fine. It will evolve, which is why I think tools like your node tools and stuff like that, which actually take a lot of the guessing out of it, they're just like click this, I actually think is huge. But I would definitely be one of those people who'd be terrified for an AI agent making actual decisions, or changing things, without like a step by step of give me everything you've just done or are about to do, and then actually double checking that what they said they would do is what they've done.
Yes, you're right, but it's a little bit like humans. The way I've always perceived humanity is in a way that we get comfortable very quickly, right? So you might check the workflow once. You created this workflow. I want to check everything. You go really detailed step by step. Everything works fine. Great. Then you check it the second time. The third time, maybe a little less. Fourth, fifth time, you know, and it starts becoming. Now we're talking about critical business decisions where we want a human in the loop. Fine, add a human in the loop. When you get to this point, at this point, I want to get involved. That's fine. Yeah, we're gonna send you an email. We're gonna send you a chat. We're going to call you. We're gonna harass your wife. Doesn't matter. We will do something around it, right? So you have to come to a point where, Fintan, do you ever make any mistakes in your decisions? When you make a decision, do you make mistakes?
All the time.
Everyone else is like, nah.
He's
never.
pretending to be humble.
I am usually wrong.
So,
see nothing but perfection.
The most important thing we can do whether we're a corporate company, a small startup, is just make some fucking decisions, right? Just make decisions. It doesn't matter really. I mean, it matters what the outcome is, but it's important we're making decisions. So, yes, passing complete decision and complete control to an AI seems absurd. I guarantee to you that we are 2-3 years away from companies being run solely by AIs, and they will be doing really well because they're going to execute on the data they have. They're going to make the best decisions they can with the data they have, and they're going to execute faster than us, right? So I believe that we will see those companies. Will those companies be, how big will they grow? How far can they get? I don't know. It's something we stand to see out, but we will see these companies come around, and there will be news about it. It will be like, wow, an AI is running a company, but when it comes to corporates, you need to understand where, if it's going to be creating its own workflow, do we approve those workflows? Are we going to allow it to self-implement those workflows? The answer is normally no. We're going to get these workflows done. It's going to suggest to us, hey, I noticed these issues. These are my suggested fixes to improve your workflow, your life. Do you approve it? Do I put it into production? Yes or no? Now you might have, as a corporate company, you might have a 3-layer. Okay, it came in. I approve this workflow, but first it needs to go through the workflow department. Let's call it a workflow department to check it, to make sure all is okay before we deploy. But as a manager, I've made the decision that I like this workflow. I want it, right? So it goes manager first, down to checking, down to finally production deployment and testing, which probably production deployment and testing can be mostly done by AIs, right? Because they're good at that stuff, right? So it's the same thing. It's just a matter of, it's been our tool. We had to really think of the psychology of the tool, because one of the first biggest hurdles we saw when we created a tool that could do slot machines and the maths and just build everything and then take you, people were scared of it. They were terrified of it. You know, even if it worked perfectly, it didn't matter. The employees were scared of losing their jobs. The managers were nervous about deploying it. You know, it was a whole so a tool that gives control to humans up to the control you want is essential in today's AI society, right? The whole idea of everything is going to be automated tomorrow, humans are not going to be in the loop, is not going to happen because humans don't want it to happen. We don't want it to happen. Not that it cannot be done, but it's more that humans, because there's enough AI knowledge, there's enough, AIs are cheap enough now that you can create that looping that automatically makes decisions, that automatically comes out with outcomes. You can create it bigger and bigger and bigger. So technically, yes, the only limitation we do have is context, right? Memory. We have, okay, Gemini has a 10 million fictitious memory, I call it, because when you try and give it the whole 10 million, it goes absolutely insane and makes a bunch of mistakes. But this is where I see things. Fintan, I think you're on the other side of this, so disagree with me.
No, look, okay, if you take, early .com boom, right? Pets.com is used as the example, and IPO'd on the people are going to buy dog food online. They were right. They were just too early.
Yeah.
Right? People, broadband penetration, smartphones, big limiting factor, and now buying dog food online, nobody would even blink. Or like I was at Google when they announced the whole driverless cars. Media backlash, and this is awful. Nobody's ever going to use it. People are going to die. Blah, blah, blah. Now those robo taxis are bopping around San Francisco and Austin and a bunch of other cities, and people prefer it. Women feel safer. People are happy to pay a premium, right? So I get so I completely buy into people will get used to this really quickly. I think I think experts like you and your team can absolutely make this work. And your tools are needed, and I think you guys are going to have huge success. It's also early still, but I do agree with you. It's a bit like crypto stuff. Like the pace of change is very fast. So we've a tendency to overestimate the short term, underestimate the long term, or medium term, even not even long term. And I think what is medium term in AI, we probably are measuring it in months and possibly single digit years, not 10 years time. But also, like, when you look at the fragmentation, when you look at the different tools, the different, it's still quite messy, and you could easily see a company, which is why, calling you guys up would make sense, because what a company doesn't want to do is end up with 20 different agents you're running on 20 different pieces of software where nothing talks to each other. Particularly if it's kind of system critical, because then you're going to end up with like this massive headache of, we need to consolidate stuff, we need to, who brought in this tool, what's it doing, where's that data going? And I think there is, particularly for big corporates, I think there's headaches down the road as well, that if they're not careful in terms of how they set this up on day one. But the balance to that is, if they don't, like you said, if they don't make a decision, if they don't pull the trigger and fucking do something, their competitors are, and they're going to get left behind. So it's a really interesting space right now, and it's quite difficult to navigate.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the biggest mistakes I'm seeing companies doing right now is they are attacking, implementing AI like it's some bolt-on thing, right? And I think a lot of people are now saying this: don't bolt on AI, do it another way. But what is the real right way to do it, right? What's the real correct way? Everyone says you're not supposed to bolt it on, but no one really says how to go ahead with it. So I will be a little bit bolder and come up with my theory of how to build like an AI company first. So most of the things we have been doing has been centered around building a workflow, automating a single process, thinking about how we can make this and this faster, always from the human scale, from the small scale, right? Rather than trying to think, okay, there's quite a big potential leap here, so maybe we should rethink the way our company operates top down, right? Can AI take away decisions? Something we've never done before. Can we give some decision making to the AI that will make our lives easier? Can we push, create a base point where we start migrating all our old archaic technology towards a new type of system, something that will be able to monitor that data, look at it, quantify it, analyze it, come up with solutions that we, and then they're running constantly around, reanalyzing, coming up with a better solution all the time from the ground up, not just saying, this is our process, let's make it AI. This is what people do. This is what we do now. Let's make it into an AI process. I mean, you have all these chunks on the side that are blocking, from all those connections to happen. So you need to build a base, right, of your company and consider the artificial intelligence layer, right, where either your data is trained to understand your company, understand your company's language, understand your company's culture, understand the company's risk appetite, all these things, right? That's the base that you need to build. No one's building that base. Everyone's just bolting it on, thinking that that's the correct way. You build the base, and then you layer on things from that base pointing to the different places. So it's more of a spike up rather than a linear tool, right? You spike up from that, you connect all those, let's say, departments, and those workflows stem out like a tree, starting from this big brain in your company, so to speak. And from there, all those things come back and they're all connected. So you've built up the base and you've connected all those things already. And when you go to, let's say, a new AI comes out, you just swap the brain. All that information stays there, right? All that information that the previous AI has collected, all the instructions, all the things it needs is still there. And you just swap. And you take out modules and kill them off when they're, no longer viable. If that, as a team, let's say you have a PR team, as that PR team becomes more and more automated, what are they going to do? Are they going to be more on the creative side? They're going to be more on the reach out, on the human side instead. So if you don't start from that base layer, let's say, I'm trying to compare it to the dawn of the internet and try and find something that links to it. But, originally we had like computers. We would give everyone a computer. None of those computers were connected together. So everyone would be then, having to do a floppy drive and then take it to the other side, and then networking came about, right, which connected them all together. I think that we have already all these tools available. It just need that initial foundation layer with all the data there secured, and then branching out to allow people to create over this in a secure way. This is how I imagine it. The implementation should be like in a company.
You're right, and it's difficult when you've got a quarterly earnings to hit, right? Because that's a big project, with an uncertain outcome.
Yeah, but we can either do the blockbuster way or the Netflix way.
Exactly. Either that,
both of them had
or
uncertain outcomes. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least that's my 2 cents. I would rather be on the innovation side taking risks, because that's how every company has succeeded in the world, is with risks, than on the safety side saying, you know what, let me wait and see what happens. You think Netflix will do well? And then I'll catch up later. I'll catch up later. It's fine. But you cannot catch up later because this base infrastructure is so critical to do it early. You cannot catch up later. It's just going to be too big a job. Then it's going to be now it's a really big job to do. It's either it's too early or too big a job. And then we're scrambling, calling in consultants to try and help us, make sense of things. But it requires a lot of change over a long period of time. You're either there or you're 3 years ago and you need to start playing catch up. Your employees' mindsets, how they use AI. Lots of people are just focused on protecting their jobs and avoiding, implementing something new that's going to make them have to relearn a bunch of things. I'm 40, I'm 50. I don't need to learn this again. I'm good at what I do. I'm comfortable in my position. I'm comfortable with the tools I use. God help me if I'm going to have to learn something new. And in reality, they will lose their jobs. Am I rambling? I've gone into a ramble, I feel.
You're passionate.
So it's what we do here anyway. You're good. You fit right in. I have two very small questions, but I'm going to ask them anyway. You mentioned back at the beginning that the business has had a lot of growth, and I'm just wondering if there's any particular area where the growth has been concentrated in, because as we've been talking, you don't sort of necessarily do one thing, but has that been focused in one area?
Well, for the most part, we've been a lot in game development, but we've started doing a lot of partnerships with companies that see the importance of having AIs and wanting to have us as like their partner. So we're there making deals in that fashion, like quite decent deals, and saying, yeah, we need more AI. We don't know exactly how to do it, but let's partner up and let's create something and let's see how that goes, right? So we're doing a lot in that, and those are proving to be successful. And so we're focused a lot now on, instead of trying to get companies to force down a product down people's throats or scared of what's coming, and rather create something new and build a team up from the ground who actually want and are passionate about using new systems and learning. So this works even better, I think. But some companies are really forward thinking. I mean, yeah. Sorry, John, you're going to say something?
Given most businesses sort of mutate in some way, don't they? They sort of refine what they're doing, and they stop doing this and stop doing that as they realize what their customers want and need. And it's like you don't necessarily know when you develop something how it's going to be used. You've got like the idea that you had in your head when you made it, but that's not necessarily the same thing it's going to be used for, because people will fuck off and do whatever they like, fundamentally. I'm just wondering if, from the early days, whether there's anything that you've stopped doing that you were doing. Is there anything that you've sort of cast off?
Yeah, we had like the AI video editor for creation on creating initial story videos and stuff like that. That wasn't much used, so we killed that version off. Our programmatic mathematics engine, which did calculated the mathematics using agentics, that was good. It worked. It created the mathematics, but people were frustrated with, like, okay, this code, I have to review it. It's very hard to see. So AIs were creating it, but they felt frustrated. So which is why we started looking at ways to make it simpler for users to understand AI creation. For the most part, we've kept everything else. I would say we haven't really diverted our plans. Yes, we're in workflows and agentics now, and that is just came out of the product we built, right? It just became part and parcel of it that users saw. Some users saw it before we did in the early days, like saying, this is, I can really build some cool some cool tools with this, not just games, So we started extending those abilities out to, integrated this cloud functions and all these things to really allow people to one-click push, scalable solutions to the cloud, So this is where we've gone. I don't know how long our slot engine will be alive for. It works really well, but we might bring it into the new tool and offer it as part of the workflow engine, allowing people to tweak it. It's a bit of a complex one, but allowing people to tweak it to their needs, their styles, maybe come up with something better than we have, right? There are many more intelligent people out there than us in, getting up better ideas, let's say.
Yeah. Adam, is there anything that you came today to talk about? That's okay. We'll see what happens with that. Maybe it'll. Oh, he's gone. Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But
so the reality is, So I think the reality is in the future of AI is really not about replacing people, and this is the way we've built the tool. We've understood this in the early days that you have to go with the wave, right? So that's what our tool is all about. It's more about augmenting the capabilities of humans and giving them abilities and making a product simple enough that they can just pick it up if they wanted to and run with it in building things. So now we sell it as a game engine, but inside of your company, push it as a workflow engine, give it to everyone across the company, let them come up with solutions, right, for you. And you'll be surprised what people are able to create. We've seen some crazy things coming out already. Really cool ideas which were unthought of by us, at least.
Fabulous. Awesome. We're going to wrap that up there because mainly because I need the toilet. But Mark and Adam, thank you for joining us. Adam, thank you for joining us multiple times.
Sorry, I don't know what was happening there. Just kept getting dropped.
It's okay. It's one of the risks of a podcast, really. And we've had much worse things happen than that. I think it's fair to say. But thank you both. So what was the thing I read the other? You've exited the beta stage now, yes? So you're like,
we have exited beta.
Sexy singing, dancing.
Right. We're a 1.0 now. We just launched our enterprise tier, and we're seeing some great attraction from that. So yeah, now we're a polished platform, ready for your back end.
It's very, very sexy. So anybody who's looking for anything along those lines or fancies a bit of AI or any of these lovely buzzwords we've been bouncing around here today, I can't wait to see the SEO stats for this podcast, Fintan. It's going to be through the roof. No, I'm just kidding. But where can people find you guys?
Xgenia.ai. They can check us out there. They can book a demo, and we'll be happy to show them the platform and generate a game in 15 minutes. Xgenia
being the letter X, Genia. I'm not going to tell you how to spell .ai because we like to assume our readership is very, very intelligent. Chaps, thank you both for joining us. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. It was a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
If you've enjoyed this episode of the Gambling Files podcast, please find us on LinkedIn. Give us a big, juicy, succulent like. That nearly went wrong. You can find us under the name The Gambling Files Podcast. You can find us on Twitter under The Gambling Files. I think the handle is just @GamblingFiles. You can connect to myself, John Bruford, or Fintan Costello, also on LinkedIn. We're also both on Twitter. And you can find all of our previous episodes at www.thegamblingfiles.com. If you enjoyed it, please share, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your colleagues, and we'll see you next time.